When you stand praying, all you gotta do is just believe, and you shall have whatsoever you pray. Just believe.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rosalind Farrell, and I will be your host for tonight's Just Breathe podcast. I'm going to go ahead and bring our special guest in. We have Kitori Baugh from Florence, Alabama, that will be joining us tonight. Patrick Edwards from Florence, Alabama, that will be joining us tonight. And Billy King from Belleville, Illinois. So welcome to the Just Breathe podcast.
Hey, Rosalind, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Great to see you.
You too. Been way too long. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start with Kitori. If you can just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Kitori Baugh. Been in the management industry for going on 30 plus years. This has been an adventure of my career. Started out in restaurant, went to retail, and now we are here with manufacturing. Just happy to be on this podcast with you and watching your journey grow as we continue to grow and move in the business that we're doing right now. So
Thank you, Kitori. It's been a pleasure. For those that do not know, Kitori is my current manager now in our current company. So just want to make that disclosure. All right, Patrick, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
all right, my name is Patrick Edwards, originally from the great state of Georgia. Got to call that out. Currently living in Alabama. My background kind of started in the military right after school. Spent 7 years in the Army. Then after that, went into banking, where I was in banking, and I like to say until the market crashed, 2008, 2009, the market crashed. Basically, my job was moved, and they gave me the option to move, and that wasn't an option for me and my family. By that time, I was living in Alabama, and had the opportunity, my first opportunity, to get into manufacturing. So I've been in manufacturing right now 15 years, working on year 16. I'm married, been married to my wife for 19 years. I tease her and say at year 20, that's retirement from marriage. So she don't like that. And she's a divorce attorney, so it'd be hard to leave her. I don't think that'd be a winning proposition for me. I have 3 kids, 2 girls, September, who's 12, Kaylin, who's 28. I also have a nephew that we have custody of, CJ, who's 16. And I'm a proud grandfather of one son, grandson. His name is Edward. So that's kind of my background.
Okay, thank you for sharing that, Patrick. Patrick, also, we work at the same company. So it's been a pleasure working with both Kitori and Patrick. All right, Billy, and we'll wrap it up with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Billy King. I originally come from North Chicago, Illinois, which is a suburb about a half an hour outside of downtown Chicago. I've been in manufacturing my entire career. I started out as a design engineer, moved to St. Louis. I've been here about almost 30 years, and moved here for a job at Chrysler. That's where I first met Rosalind. And we were both brand spanking new into the facility, young, hungry, and it was a pleasure working with her for a whole bunch of years. Since then, I've worked as a quality engineer for a lot of years. I worked as a process engineer. I've been a quality manager. I've got an ISO 9001 certification as an auditor. I've also got the environmental certification as an auditor. I've got a black belt, so I do a lot of lean and kaizens and stuff that I've done over the course of my career. Done hundreds of audits, and I currently work as a corporate supplier quality engineer. I went from a managerial role back to an individual contributor, and I travel about 30% of the time. The most beautiful thing about what I do is bringing all of that experience together to work with suppliers when our plants and the suppliers have basically the communication has fallen apart, and it's affected quality and it's affecting production and downtime. I get dispatched to go in and sit down and be the liaison between those folks and try to get everybody back on the same sheet of music, so that we can go ahead and continue making products. So I think in this third third of my life, this season of life, it's about giving back and teaching. And so my job, I take it on like that. I'm teaching most of the time, and getting folks that communication has fallen apart, getting that communication back together so that we can get on one page, one common goal, and make products. So I really enjoy what I do, and hopefully I'll get to do it for some time in the future. And thank you for inviting me to this, Roz. Considering how far back we go, I just appreciate any time you want me to do this. I'm here for you. I love this.
Yes, definitely part of my journey of manufacturing. I've been in manufacturing also all of my career, and all of the conversations that we used to have, it's just amazing to see how things have manifested to today.
Amen.
Appreciate, yeah, it's been a pleasure watching your journey as well. All right, so I'm going to start with Kitori. What's the key moment that shaped your career in manufacturing?
I think the key moment that shaped my career was started out with the company. It was Wise, and started out as a supervisor in the packing area. They needed some support in the finishing area, and so I went up there to help them to kind of get both knowledges of both departments. It was opening going to come open, so felt like I was going to put myself in position to grasp that moment. And the moment didn't happen, and there's always a reason for everything. And so I just remained humbled and knew what my career growth was and what I wanted to do. And had a mentor by the name of Paul Grimes that was working there at the time, and worked with him and ended up in human resources. And pretty much that changed my whole life, so to speak, because I was working odd shifts and got to be on day shift and spend more family time. And the biggest thing about it was I got to be able to kind of change the culture, help people grow, see the success for people. And that's what I enjoyed to do. So it was a career defining moment for me when I didn't get the position. And here I am today. Testimony of just remain humble and things will come your way. So
Thank you for sharing that, Katori. Definitely, it's been a pleasure watching your growth and your journey over the last 4 years. So thank you for sharing that. Patrick, what's the key moment that shaped your career in manufacturing?
Yeah, so remembering my background was in banking, and I had to make a quick decision. I always laugh. I went to work on a Thursday wearing a suit, and that following Monday I had on blue jeans and a t-shirt. Right, so it was a culture shock for me to begin with. But I knew why I was there, and worked hard. Worked my way up to supervisor, from supervisor lane manager. Um, did that for several years, and then had an opportunity to do a black belt presentation for a process flow. And one of the things I did not realize, but it's true, you're always interviewing. When you go to work, you're interviewing. The work you do while you're there, people are watching. You're interviewing. And one of the directors, I didn't even know this guy, was in the room watching me, never said a word, never asked a question. And after that, he said, "Hey, I'm looking to create a supply chain, which is basically metal processing through our plant. And I need a leader. And I think you're my guy." Never applied for the job, didn't know what the job was. Keep in mind, I didn't know manufacturing at the time. Even though I was in manufacturing, I was at the floor level. And that moment, that opportunity changed everything. I like to tease and say, but I'm a wealth of knowledge, and when people got a question, they come to me, and that's plant wide. And that was a lot of hard work, and I think he saw that. And like I said, you're always interviewing. That's the key for me. And that moment with that director, like I said, didn't ask a question, changed everything. I'm grateful to this day. I'm still in contact with that director, even though he's no longer with the company. He's retired. And I thank him to this day for that opportunity. So that was it for me.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's awesome to hear that it always just takes that one to see something in us. And like you said, be ready, ready for those questions and always know that someone's always watching you. So thank you for sharing that, Patrick. All right, Billy, what's a key moment that shaped your career in manufacturing?
All right. So before I say that, what I think is amazing is I listened to Kitori's story, I listened to Patrick's story, and they're different. One is about the role you didn't get. The other is about I presented and I got an opportunity out of it. My story is different than the two of those. So it speaks to the diversity and what you can get being in manufacturing if it's something that you like. When we were at Chrysler and paint, as you remember, we had a corporate body that would audit all the paint departments. And so they would come down and they would audit us for an entire week. I was the point person in the facility for that. The exit interview went to take place during the audit. They found something that I did not agree with based on how I interpreted it based on the standard. And we debated back and forth all week about this thing. And I just knew I was right. I'm a smart guy. You can't tell me I'm not smart. I know I am. That was my feeling as a young engineer in the building. So we're having our exit interview. Lloyd Johnson is our manager. I love that guy to this day. I've never had a better manager than that in my lifetime. He taught me just about everything, as you know. You know how I feel about Ross. So we're sitting at this table. It's about 10 people in the room, including the auditors. We get to this one item, and I go into my bag like, hey, I don't think that they're right. And I'm debating back and forth about it. And Mr. Johnson, he was sitting right next to me. He stopped, he looked to his left, and he asked me one simple question. He said, "Mr. King, do you like your job?" So why is that a defining moment? Because it's important to know when to be quiet. It's important to understand how to play the game. And at that young age, you couldn't tell me anything. I thought I knew it all. And with that one sentence, I understood sometimes you just have to play the game by being quiet. And so, why is that a career defining moment? Because as I move forward in my career, I play that little instance back to myself in just about every decision that I'm making when there's a group like that. And I pick my battles. It doesn't mean I'm not going to bring expertise to the table. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do the very best that I can possibly do, no matter what the task is or the project or what have you. But it does mean that I'm going to play the game, because at the end of the day, it's still a game. It's serious, but it's still a game. And if you don't play it, the outcome that you want, sometimes you may not get because you just put your foot in your mouth. And so I share that with young engineers that they send to me. I share that with interns. Man, you have to pick your battles. You got to pick your battles and play the game in order to succeed as a team, but also your part, you want some personal success as well. So learning to play the game is what I got as far as one of those defining moments. And each of those things that you guys talked about, I'm sure I've had one of those throughout the course of my career too. So I really appreciate your stories as well. I love doing this, Roz. Thank you for this. a lot.
You're welcome. So yeah, I can piggyback off of that. I started under Lloyd, and the one question, when he asked you that one question, just know that you understood the assignment. And then Tony's not able to join us tonight. He had an emergency. And I ended my, when we left Chrysler, I was under Tony's leadership. So just a plethora amount of information that I've learned from you, Billy, Tony, Deronne, and Lloyd, and Howard. So yeah, it's
And
just,
Howard. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
and Howard. Oh yes, he had a different management style, but there were some lessons learned.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the next question is for you, Billy. How are you adapting to the increasing use of technology and automation in manufacturing?
So this question right here is kind of hitting home a little bit because um, a friend of mine reached out to me and said, and she's been working for Fortune 50 companies her entire career for the most part, bringing people on board, finding talent and bringing it on board. And she called me one day and said, "Hey, how much longer are you going to work in manufacturing?" I said, "I don't know, to the end of the career, I guess, whatever that looks like." And she said, "Well, are you interested in learning anything new to potentially move into something else after you get ready to retire? If I can guarantee that you work from home, you won't have to go in. You'll have to do your job, but you won't have to go in." And I said, "Well, I'm willing to listen to it." All of the AI stuff that's going on right now, all of the free and low to little to no cost courses that are being offered by companies like NVIDIA and IBM and Google and all of these technological companies. She said, "What I'd like you to do is I'm gonna put a program together for you. The program will last about a little less than 18 months. If you go through and do all of these classes, I'll be able to place you somewhere." And I was like, "Well, I'll consider it. What kind of money are we talking about to work from home?" She said between 130 and 170. So I haven't prayed on it enough to know if it's the right thing for me to do. But at the end of the day, just knowing that there's an opportunity for me out there, having, the engineering background that I have and all the technical expertise, and being able to look at complex subjects and be able to take that information in, learn it, and then be able to apply it, it's really attractive to me. Even if I wanted to do something part-time and still make some money and work from my home and not have to be in traffic and all of these things. As far as on my current job, I'm already using programs like ChatGPT as much as possible to make things faster for me. So it doesn't do the work, but when I go in, and I've been teaching myself how to create. So I took a workshop that was 2 hours long about creating prompts in ChatGPT that would give you better outcomes. And so I took the workshop, I took my notes and whatnot, and I started applying this stuff. And it is spitting out, I feel like I have a personal assistant, literally. It's spitting out information to me that I can take bits and pieces of, whittle this thing down, verify the information that I got, organize it in a fashion that I want to see it in, and kick it out and be done with it in an hour, whereas it may have taken me 3 hours before. And so, as far as technology is concerned and how I'm using it, that Chat GPT is wonderful. The other thing that I've done as far as that. Okay, sorry about that. A phone call came through and I accidentally answered it. The other thing that I've done is I create a lot of training videos. So using the Adobe workshop programs to learn how to shoot, edit, and make videos faster. There's also software out there where I can shoot a 1 hour video and then drop it in this software, and it'll chop it up into bits and pieces based on the topics that I'm covering throughout this program that I use as training now. So it may give me like a short, like you would see on Instagram. It may give me 40 shorts out of this one video. And so where I would have had to do that in the past by hand, now I don't have to do that at all. So I'm utilizing all of these apps and these programs in order to make my workflow go a lot faster. And it's allowing me to be more productive on my regular 9 to 5 that I, during the day that I have, the things that I do. So that's how I'm personally using it.
So, Rosie, let me piggyback off of that. I think one of the things, and I think we're all about the same age, that you'll notice with this technology is you still need some of that old school understanding of what you're looking at. And we see a lot of the younger generation, they can do all the Power BIs. They're the best you ever see in Excel, but they do not understand what they're looking at or deciphering that information. I, not that I resist against technology, because it's part of it, but I also teach everybody the manual way of doing it. Now, if they want to make it fancy and write all these fancy scripts and all that, go for it, do your thing. But I still find the people that use the raw data, that understand the data that they're looking at, will succeed. And that's a challenge that we see with the technology. They want it quicker, faster, but they're not looking at what is out. All right, understanding the data. Yeah, engineering, see it. I've seen it with engineers. I've seen it with all type of industries. GTP or whatever it's called. Yeah, I've tried it just to rate my family's photo, and maybe I'm missing something there. Maybe I need to go a little further with it. But the old school way seems to, man, I can't believe I'm saying old school, because the generation before us think we're lazy, right? But you're definitely seeing a change in how that technology is being used. So I think there's a place for it, but I also think the manual way works really well.
Thank you. Thank you, Billy and Patrick, for sharing that. Technology has definitely evolved over the past few years. I actually was just learned about Chat GPT. I was talking to my son. I'm like, what's that? So yeah, so that's telling my age too. So I totally agree with you saying, Patrick. All right. So the next question is for you, Kitori. What advice would you give to someone just starting out in manufacturing?
Um, the biggest advice I'll give somebody that was wanting to start in manufacturing, do your research. Um, what I realized, we live in the world today, Rosalind, you see it, we see it every day that we're interviewing or speaking to people. Everybody wants to try manufacturing because, honestly, it's one of what I see, highest paying jobs out there. Um, and it's not for everybody. So just give you, like I said, a little bit of story background of myself. So, I come from restaurant management. Then I went to retail management. Those are two different, like to use the word monsters, because, both are different paces of life. One's very fast paced. You got to know the kitchen. You got to know the outside of the house, front and the back of the house. Retail management. I mean, it's dealing with customers. You got to be able to have customer service. And when I left retail management, I went to manufacturing, and I go from wearing Best Buy blues, khakis, dress shoes, ties, long sleeve shirts, to now I'm in steel toe boots. The environment's way different. It's hot, it's cold, it's greasy, it's oily. And when I first started, I'm one of those that can adapt to anything. So it didn't really bother me. I'm all about the pay. And but I see people that try, want to try it out. It's not for everybody. It's a lot that goes in it. It's long hours. You got to adapt your quality of life around it. Um, I mean, my thing is just, again, if that's something that you're willing to take on, then you just do your research, because it's not for everybody. It's different avenues of manufacturing, whether it's a production or whether it's management. I mean, you just got to know yourself. And if you have the school and knowledge and you feel like you're capable of it, then, do it. But again, I tell anybody, it's not for everybody. And we see it right now. People want to try it out, coming from areas where it's air conditioned places and clean, and get in there, and it's a total nightmare for them because they've never experienced it, never experienced the hours, never experienced working overtime. So the biggest thing I say is just do your research, do your due diligence, understanding what you're getting into, and then you can see if you want to make that a career or not. Because I mean, obviously every one of us has been in it for a while, and we understand. And I feel like just listen to everybody's background, we can learn to adapt to anything, and that's the biggest key. Just again, just doing your research.
Thank you for sharing that, Katori. And you're right. It's not for everyone. I remember when I started, I used to go home, legs hurting, long hours, hot. So you got to be really, mindset. It's a mindset. Um, so yeah, thank you for sharing that. Patrick, the same question for you. What advice would you give to someone just starting out in manufacturing?
Yeah, so for me, and I can speak for what I think they should know is know your why. I've heard several motivational speakers talk about that, and I would tell you if you're not doing anything in life for the right reason, it's not going to turn out well, right? I knew that even though I wore a suit every day to work prior to coming into manufacturing, I was willing to dig a ditch to support my family, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? So I knew my why. I didn't need confirmation from my peers. I didn't need confirmation from my superiors. I knew why I was there. If you're there singly to get a check, that's what you're gonna get, and that's what it's gonna give you in return, right? But I knew and I saw and I said, I know what I want to do. I know my why, right? I'll never forget my first interview at my current employer, which I've been, like I said, 15 years. Was they said, "Well, what job are you applying for?" I showed up in a suit and tie, and you guys know that's very rare in manufacturing. And I said, "Look, I'll take janitor or CEO, whatever you got, right? Just let me get my foot in the door, and I'll do the rest." Now, I will admit they put me as close to janitor as they could find, but at the end of the day, I never regret it. I learned a lot. The mentality was different, but I knew my why, and that's what motivates me daily.
That's so important. Understanding your why. I think when you understand your why, not that it makes it easier, but it makes it seamless and you understand why you get up every day and do what you're doing day in and day out. So thank you for sharing that. I think that's so true. All right, Katori, the next question is for you. What leadership strategies have been most effective in your experience?
Um, this is a good question, and I thought about this before the podcast. My leadership strategy. Let me just say this: I like to allow people to be themselves. Um, Mostly my career, I've been a manager, and my peers and people that I've managed, I want them to be themselves. Whatever they're great in, try to make sure I help them excel and allow them to be them. It seems like it works because I've seen different leadership strategies, skill sets, and mine is just, just let people be themselves. It seems like it goes a long way and it allows people to grow. I've been taught several things from my peers because they have skill sets as well that they bring to the table. So, I mean, the biggest thing is just allowing people to be themselves. I see leaders that want to be the dominant in leadership. I'm not that type of person. I'm the person that it's okay to sit in the back and watch people grow. But the biggest thing is allowing people to be themselves. That's what I like. That's what seems like it gets the most out of people. And it seemed like people that what they enjoy doing when people allow them to be themselves seems like it continues to help them grow within the companies. And I've seen a lot of people get promoted in those things.
Thank you for sharing that. And I can attest to that. You are one of the leaders that allow your peers to be themselves. And that's one of the things I always tell you and I appreciate about you because you've allowed me the autonomy to have a mind of my own, not speak for me. And we don't always agree on everything, but you at least listen to what I have to say. So not I haven't had that always in all of my managers, but that's one thing I can say about you, allowing that um, you know, balance of being able to listen to what I'm saying when I have something or an idea that I want to share. But I've also learned a lot from you as well. Sometimes you just gotta, I've learned, Rosalind, just be quiet and listen. Just listen, just sit back and wait and watch. So I have learned that strategy from you as well.
And
So
and
thank you for
Roz,
sharing that.
and Roz, I want to piggyback off what you just said too. There's been plenty of times where Rosalind and myself we've been in meetings or whatever, and you know, she's one maybe ask me something, and she already knows the answer, and I'll just be quiet and ask her what she wants to do because she already knows the answer, and I'll follow in her footsteps, and it always works. And I appreciate you. Just now it's like we already know each other, back of our hand, and you do it, and we'll go forward with it. So, I mean, again, it's just like I said, just allowing people to be themselves and just be a great coach and motivator and supporter. That's the biggest thing is supporting people and allowing them to grow. And, she's doing the whims now with our company. And, she asked me questions and I'm like, I'm there for support. You do. And, people gonna see. So I mean, just allowing people to be their skill set and be themselves. So
Yes, thank you, Katori. All right, Patrick, that's the same question for you as well. What leadership strategies have been most effective in your experience?
So I'm gonna back up to Katori first. He did not go over consistency, which he preaches all the time. Right? I'm a little hurt he missed that, but we'll move past that. So in manufacturing, we used to have a director that was real big on reading. He would basically give us it was the book club basically, and two books stuck out to me. One of which I know for a fact Katori has read, which is Multipliers. You can be a multiplier, you can be a diminisher. Won't go into all the details, but a multiplier, to Katori's point, allows people to be their self. But one of the most effective leadership books I ever read was called Extreme Ownership. That book opened my eyes to a lot of things, and you see it all the time. But for me, I have a mission, right? It's well defined what I'm supposed to do, right? I have the tools, and if I don't have the tools as a manager, I'm develop the tool or seek the tools. You have people, same thing. You get the people, you develop the people, right? And then once you have all that as a manager, you take extreme ownership of the process because that's what you own. You're loyal to the team, you're loyal to the mission, right? And you'll get there. You admit your mistakes. You own your mistakes. You learn and you plan how to not make that mistake again. Those are key things because I mean you guys know you guys work with me every day. I'm literally being asked hundreds of questions every day. So I get up at 6 o'clock or 4:20. I get to work. I'm sitting at my desk at 6 a.m. I'm gonna beat my boss there, right? He's usually pulling in at 6:05. He's gonna see my car. When he leaves at 4, he's gonna see my car. All right. And I did that for years. Katori could attest to it. There was very rarely Saturdays and Sundays. So that I wasn't there. A lot of people would call me on Saturdays and say, "Hey, if you're at the plant, can you do so and so while you're there for me?" And I would hook them up. Katori, I helped you out once or twice that way, right? I was going to not only tell my people what to do, I was going to show them what it was going to take. Now, granted, after a few years, I was able to back off a lot of that, right? But I not only did I preach, I showed them, and now I hold them accountable. And to Kitori's point, which he didn't make, I'm gonna make for him. You got to be consistent with it, right? I can't do for John what I won't do for Paul, right? And there's always those circumstances where you gotta sit back and think about it. But yeah, extreme ownership. I own the process, right? Uh, and it felt good, and I think you guys see it too. More people will come to me now for answers than they do my own director, right? Which I think, and you guys would agree, he's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. And that felt good. Come a long way to get there, but it took a lot of effort to get there. So for me, extreme ownership and multiplying your people.
Thank you for sharing that. And yes, I'm surprised he didn't say consistent as well, because he preaches that I'm being fair and consistent. I said, and I'm adding an equal. And so, Patrick, I want to tell you thank you as well, because I was one of your students when I first started with those reports. And the first time you had shown me, I was like, I got it. I sent that report out one time, incorrect. And the president texted me, or I think he emailed me, and was like, Rosalind, that's not right. That's inaccurate. I was like, oh my God. Called Kitori almost in tears, like, the report is wrong. I went back into another session with Patrick, and Patrick, I had my notepad. I was taking notes this time. I was like, that won't happen again. So thank you. He is a great teacher, patience. But like you said, you operate by example, and I've watched you over the years, and like I watch you, I truly watch you, and you are an example of a leader. I can say that about you and Kitori Baugh, because I always say there's two type of people when we talk about leaders. We have people of power and we have true leaders. And I honestly can say that you and Kitori are leaders. So thank you.
No, thank you, Rosalind.
All right, so Billy, this is a question for you. What do you do outside of work to recharge and stay motivated?
I can break that into categories. Two main categories that I'll share. So I do a lot of photography and videography in my personal life. I don't know, at this phase of life, it's like going to art class. I never thought that. So I can't paint, I can't sing, I can't sculpt. But I think because the camera is a machine and my engineering degree is mechanical, and I think in patterns and math and photography outside of the understanding light and angles, it's math and science and pattern recognition. And so I bought a camera many years back, and I've never put that camera down. And it's like somebody that picks up a set of coloring. When I see my nieces pick up a set of crayons out that box, like we used to do back in the day as kids, and how much fun that they have laying on the ground, just coloring with their face real close to the paper, and they just in their own world having a good time. That's what the camera does for me. That's what shooting video does for me. From a self-care standpoint, I have adopted reflexology on a regular basis, massage on a regular basis, and meditation has been very helpful for me. Meditation and prayer, very, very helpful for me. They recenter me, and I always know when it's time for me to do those things. And so that work life, that personal balance that I put into my life has really given me, it's brought me back to a center of home that I haven't experienced in a long time. So if you're not doing those types of things for yourself, not to mention I'm a vegetarian and I juice all the time. So I'm trying to, keep the temple clean for the most part. I do smoke cigars, so I do have a vice. But at the end of the day, having something artistic that I do, having some things that I do for self-care, and then putting good stuff into my machine is how I do that. That's the best way that I can answer that question. That's my personal, those things that are just for me. And as as a man that has had family and kids and stuff, we give so much of ourselves. Oftentimes, we don't think about ourselves. We don't take good care of ourselves because we're always taking care of somebody else. Pat, you just said it. I got to work at 6 o'clock. I left at whatever time that other car pulled off the lot. Mine was going to be sitting there. That's you thinking about your family and making sure that they're okay. You'd have been a janitor or a CEO. That's you thinking about your family and others. My kids are starting to get a little older. My oldest one is married. My youngest one is about to go off to college. And so I feel like at this period in my life, it's my turn. It's my time. And whatever that looks like for me these days, that's what I'm going to do so I can enjoy whatever time I've got left in the best fashion possible.
So, Billy, I know we had the pleasure of working together, but I'd just be curious to learn. So, what's your leadership strategy? I would love to hear what you think about it.
I come from a family of teachers and coaches. The brand new middle school that has been in the works in my hometown for about 12 years. My mom spearheaded that and has a bronze plaque on the wall with her profile shot on it, Mrs. King, blah, blah, blah. She played a huge role. The school would not exist without her. Coming up all the way through 8th grade, we had to do summer school every year. So my mom was not playing when it came down to enrichment. My leadership style is identifying what those that are part of my team are lacking and making sure that they get the training, whether I'm writing a class and teaching it, whether I'm putting a curriculum together for them and having others teach it or teaching it myself, developing a person to the point that there is no excuse for you not being able to get to that next level, to be promotable. Now, if you choose to not do anything with that, it is not because I didn't pour into you in such a way that you were able to flourish, and then giving you the opportunity to be in the deep water. I'm over here, I'll give you a stick, but you're not going to learn by staying in the shallow. So I'm going to throw you out there in the deep water. You got it? Okay, well, if we need to give you some more training, Raj, you just sent out a report that wasn't right. You went back in there with your notepad and got some more training from Patrick. But you got thrown into deep water. That's the way you're going to learn. People necessarily don't learn from what they hear all the time. It's you never forget how somebody makes you feel. So if I throw you out there in that deep water and you struggle, is it because you're not trained well enough, or is it a nervousness issue or something else? We can deal with those things. So the job that I was at as a quality manager before I took this job that I currently have, I came back to a company and I've been back for 3 years. I had a number of inspectors. When I got there, I realized that many of the inspectors on the team, they were passionate people, but nobody had trained them. So I trained them on just about everything that I knew how to do. When I left there, I turned in my notice, I left. I talked to somebody maybe 5-6 months later that are there, and I was like, so who's quality manager there now? They said, you know what? They didn't even replace the quality manager role. All the inspectors that you trained, all of the courses that you gave, they broke your job up into pieces and they gave it to the people that you trained. That made my day to hear that, because ensuring that they know how to, I taught them how to fish, so now they can fish for themselves. And that's basically what I've heard you guys say. Allowing people to be themselves. That's, you're being yourself, but you're training. You stay there, work all of those hours. You're making sure people know what's going on. That way you can hold them accountable on the back end. I've done everything. I'm living it. I'm living it by example, but I'm also going to pour into you. So my main tenet in any leadership role I have, whether it's at my job or outside of my job, is to train the people that are on my team. Because again, my mom's a teacher, my sister's a teacher. I've tutored hundreds of kids. My brother was a substitute teacher. He's coached everything from basketball to football to track. I mean, this is family business. So that is my main approach to leadership, making sure people are trained and know what they're doing, and then giving them the opportunity by putting them out there in the deep end to see how they do. And then
I appreciate it. I definitely want
train
to hear.
into them after that. Thank you. I appreciate you asking. Yep.
Yes. This has been all things amazing. That's my favorite word, amazing. Just listening to each of your stories and the leadership that you have, I can truly say I have enjoyed watching each of you, learning from each of you. Billy, as you know, when I first started as a production supervisor, I said, no, this is not my career path. I am going into HR. And it took me a while. It took me a long time to get in HR. And we had many of conversations about that.
Yes,
But as
ma'am.
you all have talked about having that leader to take you under their leaders, under their wings and kind of cultivate your gift and help you march towards your career path. So I appreciate all of your leadership styles, everything that you shared tonight. I am trying to keep an eye on the comments or if anyone has any questions. But just in case I miss anything, I'm going to start with you, Kitori, then Patrick, and you, Billy. If anything that you would like to share, just in case someone wants to reach out to you and have those questions, especially we have youth that will come in. I know my son is getting ready to go out into the civilian world and start working as a young engineer. Might have some questions or possibly be a mentor for him as he walks out his career path. So anything that you would like to share with us at this time, you can go ahead and share that now.
Um, well, I mean, my doors are always open. If anybody would like, I guess they can reach out to you for my email or phone number and share and give some insight. Just like Billy, you were saying, my dad is a former coach. School teachers, we're either school teachers, coaches, or human resources. So it's all about helping others. Um, um, One thing that my pops has always taught and said a billion times: faith without work is dead. So, I mean, you got to have faith in everything you do. And, the biggest thing is I'm a big supporter. So I love to help people get to where they need to be. So, I mean, if they would like to reach out for any knowledge or anything they would like to talk about going further, I mean, if you could, you can give them my email address or telephone number and tell them to call me and we can set up some time to chat.
Okay, thank you for that, Katori. What about you, Patrick?
Yeah, same. I think if there's anything, please just reach out through you. And I think I'm a little amazed that we're at the age now where we have advice. Right? I still think I'm 21 years old, but I'm not. Yeah, I love teaching kids. I think you met my godson this summer as an engineer, and when Billy was talking earlier about that, I'll use the word cockiness. It reminded me a lot of him because he is like,
Engineer, baby. Engineers.
yeah, he's an engineer. 36. I think he made a 34 on the ACT without a calculator. You can't tell him nothing. I even though it hurts me to use Nick Saban's sayings, but Nick Saban says you got two ears and one mouth. There's a reason. You listen twice as hard as you talk. And I think something that he struggles with. So when you were saying that, I had his face in my mind as you were talking. So yeah, anything we love to teach. We love to tell people. All experiences are a little different, but they're all the same. They really are. If you show up to work and give 110%, don't listen to the naysayers. Improve yourself. Whatever that may mean. The world's yours. The world is yours, and I really mean that. Whatever you want to be, you can be if you work hard at it. And I truly believe that, and I've never been proven wrong. Right, so that's kind of how I am.
Thank you for sharing that, Patrick. And Billy will wrap up with you.
All right. As far as the young folks and whatnot reaching out, Roz, I work with the interns, been working with them for my entire career. If you got anybody that you'd like me to either talk to or email, talk on the phone with, pass my information along to them. I'm happy to. If you've got like a distribution list of emails that you collect, just based on your podcast or whatnot, add mine to it, along with my title, et cetera, and so forth. And any of those folks can reach out. I'm more than happy to chat about that. any way that I can help. I do want to comment on something Patrick said. I want to expound on it when he was talking about your why, and you were talking about manufacturing going into it. If you don't know your why, give yourself a date, because manufacturing, as we all know, is one of those things. It pays well enough, well, to get you. And I don't mean, I'm not necessarily talking about somebody that's got a managerial role. It could be somebody that's working on the line in production, and it'll pay you well enough. The benefits will be good, et cetera, and so forth. You'll blink hard, and 7 years would have gone by. And then if it's not your why, you're miserable and you feel stuck. So if you don't know for sure, if you don't know what your why is about manufacturing, give yourself a date, 1 year, 2 years, whatever that is, and assess. And if it's not for you, thank the Lord you had the opportunity and move on into something else. Because at the end of the day, whether it's manufacturing or retail or restaurants, as Kitori was saying, or HR or whatever, if you're miserable, you're miserable. And anybody that's experienced misery knows that it doesn't happen immediately. It takes time to become miserable. And it's a deep, 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 deep feeling to just be miserable. So give yourself a date. I'll do this for a year and see what I think. I'll do this for 6 months and I'll see what I think about it. And if I don't like it and it's not for me, then I'll be honest enough with myself to make a different decision. Moreover, my final question for you: why the Just Breathe? Why did you name it that? I don't know why you named it Just Breathe.
So the first time you came on the podcast, I think we were at King or Queen I See You. So it's an opportunity for entrepreneurs to come on and share their experiences as business owners. And then I had a detour. I had a suddenly that happened in my life, and I changed the podcast name to Detour.
I remember
So,
that. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So just over the last 2 years, I am in my Just Breathe season, where I feel like I'm actually able to just breathe. I'm actually able to expound and do the things, get back to the things that I once enjoyed doing. So yeah, I'm in my Just Breathe season.
I love it.
Yes.
So, Rosa, let us give you your flowers in front of everybody. I'm extremely proud of you. You know that, right? And we'd do anything in the world to support you. I love that you're about your business, right? I'm impressed every time you're telling me what you're up to and what you're doing, and you're showing me the things you're making, and I'm just like, wow, you do what? You do that? Oh, wow, you do this? So do you, girl. We're very, very proud and very happy to watch it.
Yes. Thank you, Patrick. And thank you, you and your wife, Kitori, your family, for this is home for me now. And you guys have made that man amazing. I don't know what I would have done without you, because being in a place where you don't know anyone has been a challenge. But you guys, I can truly say, are my family. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and let you guys get on with your evening to your families. I do appreciate your time, even the listeners that have joined us tonight. I appreciate you joining us and listening on Men in Manufacturing. This has been a pleasure. You guys have the extended invitation to be my special guest at any time. For my listeners, if anyone inspires to be my special guest, please reach out to me at whatisyourdetour@gmail.com, or you can reach me on Facebook. Thank you again, Kitori, Patrick, and Billy. And we're gonna get Tony in on to join us one of these evenings. I know he had an emergency. Deronne had an emergency, so we'll do this again. But it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me,
Appreciate
Shine.
Yes,
I appreciate you.
yes, I
Thank you
appreciate it.
again, Russell.
Yes. All right. Well, you guys remember to take a pause, take a break, and remember to just breathe. Go in.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Good night.
Good night. Pleasure to meet you guys too.
Pleasure
Yeah,
to
you
meet
too,
you.
man.